So I need to tell you guys something that I've never told anyone in full. Not my friends, not my therapist, not even my mom. And my mom knows everything. But the internet? The internet feels safe. So here we go. Grab a snack. This is a long one. It was a Tuesday in November. I know it was a Tuesday because I was eating sad desk ramen and watching my coworkers slowly lose their minds over a spreadsheet. That's just Tuesday energy. You know the vibe. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Area code I didn't recognize. The message said, and I'm reading this directly because I never deleted it. It said, "Hey, did you pick up the dry cleaning or did you just completely forget again like last time?" Now, normal person response, "Sorry, wrong number." Maybe a laughing emoji. Done. But I had eaten nothing but ramen for 3 days. I was exhausted, and something about the passive aggression of that message just activated me. So instead of being a normal, reasonable adult, I typed back, "I did pick it up actually. It's in the closet, next to your excuses." I don't know why I did that. I genuinely cannot explain it. I hit send, and then sat there staring at my phone like I'd just chucked a grenade into a stranger's kitchen. 3 minutes of silence. Then, "Who is this?" And I said, "Someone who's tired of being blamed for things." And he said, "Lamoo, okay, same actually. Wrong number by the way, I was texting my roommate." And I said, "Was the dry cleaning thing real?" And he said, "Unfortunately yes, he never picks it up, every single time." And I said, "That's rough. Is it at least good dry cleaning, like is it worth the chaos?" And he said, "It's a blazer he's worn twice." And I said, "I'm so sorry for your loss." And just like that we were talking. I had no idea who this guy was. No name, no face, no idea what he looked like or where he worked, or anything about his life. We just talked. For weeks, I know. But here's the thing about talking to a complete stranger who you have zero social history with. There's no performance. There's no reputation to protect. You don't have mutual friends to impress. You're not worried about running into him at the grocery store. You're just yourself. We texted every day. Sometimes it was dumb stuff. He'd send me photos of weird things he saw on the street. A pigeon eating what appeared to be an entire hot dog bun with the dignity of a man at a 5-star restaurant. I'd send back voice memos of me doing dramatic readings of bad Yelp reviews. We had a running joke about a fictional nemesis named Gerald, who we blamed for everything that went wrong. Missed the bus? Gerald. Wi-Fi went out? Gerald. Found out the movie we wanted to watch wasn't on any streaming service and required a $5 rental? Gerald, obviously. I started waking up and checking my phone not for Instagram, not for work emails, but for whatever he'd sent overnight. Usually it was a meme. Sometimes it was a voice note of him laughing at something before he'd even explained what was funny. And I'd just lie there in bed, laughing too, at a laugh I'd never heard in person, from a face I'd never seen. I need you to understand how strange this felt in real time. I kept waiting for the moment where it would feel weird or wrong or unsafe, but it never did. It just felt easy. About 6 weeks in, I slipped. We were talking about movies, specifically about how neither of us had anyone to go see this new film with that we both wanted to see, and without thinking, I said, "We literally live in the same area code, this is statistically absurd." Long pause. Then, "Wait, you're in the city?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I'm in the same city." And I said, "The blazer closet guy's roommate, you're actually here." And he said, "I'm here." We both went quiet. The text thread just sat there, breathing. Then, he said, "This is the part in the movie where one of us suggests meeting up and the other one panics." And I said, "Which one are we?" And he said, "I think we're both the panic one." And I said, "Cool, cool, cool. So we never meet and just text forever." And he said, "I mean, worse things have happened." And I genuinely considered it. I really did. Because what we had in that text thread was perfect. It was easy and funny and real. And I was so scared that a face-to-face meeting would shatter it somehow. That he'd seem different. That I'd seem different. That the magic of being just words on a screen would evaporate the second it became a real, physical, awkward human situation. But then he said something that broke me open. He said, "I've told you things I haven't told anyone. That kind of scares me. But it also makes me think you're the only person I'd actually want to meet." I read that message 4 times. Then I said, "Coffee?" And he said, "Coffee." I was 20 minutes early, sat in my car doing breathing exercises like I was about to perform surgery. I had no idea what he looked like. We'd agreed on no photos beforehand, partly because neither of us wanted the pressure of a preview, and partly because we both agreed it felt more honest to just show up. Which, in retrospect, was the most romantic and also most anxiety-inducing decision we ever made. I walked into the coffee shop. I stood there scanning the room. And then someone waved at me from a corner table. A small, awkward, enthusiastic wave. The kind you do when you're also nervous and you've forgotten how human hands work. And I just knew. I don't know how to explain the knowing. I'd never seen this man before in my life. But something in my chest just went, "Oh, there you are." We talked for 4 hours. The coffee shop closed around us, and we migrated to the sidewalk, and then to a park bench, and then to a taco truck around the corner. We laughed about Gerald. We talked about the first weird text. We reconstructed the entire timeline of our conversation, like archaeologists discovering something they hadn't expected to find. At one point he looked at me and said, "You're exactly what I thought you'd be." And I said, "Is that good?" And he said, "It's the best thing." We dated for 8 months before making it official. Not because we were unsure, but because we genuinely didn't want to rush something that had started so perfectly weird. The Blazer roommate? His name was actually Derek, not Gerald. We told him the whole story at his apartment one night, and he sat there blinking at us for a full 30 seconds before saying, "So I'm the reason you two met?" And we said yes. And he said, "I want credit at the wedding." He's going to be a groomsman. I know the internet has a lot of feelings about love at first text stories. I know some of you are rolling your eyes right now. But here's what I want to say to anyone who needs to hear it. The connection I found came from a typo, from misdirected passive aggression about a blazer, from two tired, slightly chaotic people who happened to respond to each other instead of shutting it down. I almost didn't respond. I almost just said, "Wrong number, sorry," and went back to my ramen. And I think about that a lot. The version of me who typed the normal thing, who was polite and brief and sensible, she'd probably still be eating sad desk ramen alone. Instead, I said something ridiculous to a stranger, and that stranger said something back, and now he's asleep on the couch in my apartment with our dog on his feet and a half-eaten bag of chips on his chest. The blazer still isn't picked up, by the way.